Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the cast. We are going to be hopping into a Terran versus Zerg as we start down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Top of the red Zerg player. Give it up for JediVipor. A guy who I do not necessarily know. I believe he's from the North American ladder. And 14-year-old me would be a huge fan of this guy based on his nickname. And spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Terran player. Give it up for Sloth Esports Club's xKawaiian. Also known as Taylor to many, as he did play during the DreamHack Austin 2017 event. He got to play a main stage match versus Noni, a very well-known old-school Protoss player. xKawaiian ended up defeating him and plays pretty damn well. He's a mid-level GM player, but I think many people may know him just from his stream or, of course, from some of his pro play in the past. I think he's been more or less inactive as a pro player and has been more or less just acting primarily as a streamer. So been fun to see more of him. I didn't really get to catch much of the games from DreamHack Austin that he played in, but I know that he is a pretty fun player to watch. He's a pretty aggressive Terran player and really likes to get that damage done with any drops and attacks and kind of multi-pronged aggression. Don't know too much about JediVipor. The PsyX clan tag does look a little bit familiar. I'm pretty sure I've seen it around before. Let's take a look at that clan logo. We got Team Psionic Aftermath. That is definitely a name I'm familiar with. But don't really know too much about this guy. Interested to see where things are going to go. But it is on Abyssal Reef, one of the maps that has been around since the last ladder map pool season. And I don't think too many players are really complaining about this map. This has just been one of my absolute favorite maps in a while. Of course, I have weird map choice preferences in general. I was a huge fan of Dasan Station, for those who remember that. And of course, I was also a big fan of Arena. But Abyssal Reef, I think, is one of the maps that I do really enjoy, and I feel like most people just in general enjoy. We've seen so many cool games that are just led to awesome play and positional decisions that are made based on the layout of the third bases. So you have this potential third base that sometimes gets taken. You have this third, and very, very rarely you'll see this taken as a third expansion, but that is not something I'm expecting to see in this game. Either way, though, xKawaiian comes in with his first Reaper, gets a bit of scouting information, forces out a couple of drones to make some buildings just to avoid losing the drones, since a building has a lot more health than a regular worker. But, ooh, nice micro on this Reaper. Already up to 2 lane kills, but oh god! Spoke a little bit too soon. Commentator curse, and the Reaper goes down to the Queen just as it pops out. Now, JediVipor is going to feel much, much better having picked up that Reaper, because now he can just drone to his heart's content. He doesn't have to make any additional Zerglings to try and chase down that Reaper. He's not going to have a hard time securing this third, having to wait until his creep spread gets over there, as sometimes you do have to wait all the way until your drone can safely make their way over to the third and throw down that hatchery. But now xKawaiian just going to be relying, I suppose, on the reactor Hellions are going to be coming out to try and put on some form of pressure, try and shut down creep spread, try and be annoying, and hey, you know what, maybe even just try and get a bit of a drone BBQ going at some point. Decent number of Zerglings going to be coming out, though, and these are primarily, I imagine, to deal with something like the Reaper or the Hellions moving their way across the map. There is a potential that JediVipor is going to get really aggressive with this. He's continuing to make a few more Zerglings than I would expect. Just not a huge number more, but a few more. These Lings, though, not finding too much luck against these Hellions. Getting a couple of good shots off, but nice micro from xKawaiian. Distributes the damage just a little bit and does manage to roast up a couple of those Zerglings. More Lings on the way, and this is definitely getting to the point where I think that JediVipor wants to get some damage done. He wants to deny a third or try and do a big run by into the natural. Something is on his mind. He's going for the surround on these Hellions, but oh, the Hellions do get finally trapped. They're still getting a lot of these Zerglings, but at the end of the day, they do all go down, and 12 more Zerglings on the way for JediVipor. He is not seizing the aggression by any means whatsoever. xKawaiian may be catching wind of this by seeing how many Zerglings he found over there. He is going to be going for the full wall off now, throwing it up with all of these supply depots all at the same time. Even starting to get up a bit of a secondary wall in. It goes over between his natural, or I suppose this kind of part of the wall, and his third expansion. Walling off with that third command center. But Baneling's on the way. Banelings are going to be unimpeded by the supply depots. Oh my god, but the Hellions managed to catch the Banelings. They're going to be able to kill off so many of them before they even make their way onto the supply depots. Unfortunately for xKawaiian, supply depots are down, so the Lings get straight into the natural expansion mineral line. SCV's been pulled off the line to try and hold on a little bit longer, but xKawaiian's taken some pretty substantial losses. He's already reduced down to 28 workers, maybe losing a few more here and there. Third command center is not going to finish up in time. This shouldn't be canceled unless he takes a devastating amount of damage, but I mean, this Banshee is now out, and this should be able to eventually clean up a good chunk of these Zerglings. At the same time, we do have some auto turret harassment coming out from the Raven. Looks like it only got 2 kills. Not a lot, but oh my god, the third expansion is getting really, really low on health. xKawaiian do not have anything else to defend this. It's going down really quickly. I think he's gonna have to cancel that. That is a huge blow that absolutely makes it worth it for JediVipor. I think it was a little bit questionable for a bit of time. He was killing off a lot of workers, but he wasn't quite able to do enough damage to counterbalance the fact that a third command center was going to be finished up very soon for xKawaiian. And I think getting the cancel on that really did secure it as a nice economic advantageous position for JediVipor. Couple more Lings flooding on in, trying to get any kind of damage done that they can. They do manage to kill off all the Marines and even getting 1 or 2 Hellions in the mix. Trying to go after some more of the workers. I'm not sure that he actually found too many of them, but ooh, even gets another Hellion. JediVipor with these Ling run-bys. I think the xKawaiian is quite sick of them, but auto turret plus the Banshee able to get some good damage done over this third expansion. Doesn't look like the Spore Crawler is finished up, and ooh, the Queen goes down to the auto turret, and auto turret even getting a couple of more drones. Taking a look, we have 5 workers killed by xKawaiian, but JediVipor with that Ling run by up to 21 kills. He's got some Spore Crawlers finished up, looking to burrow those inside the natural expansion, but doesn't have any finished up in the main base. Oh, this is a bit of a blunder, as now this Banshee plus the auto turret are most certainly going to get a lot of damage on. Look at this. Banshee's actually focus firing down the Spore Crawler, managed to get it. The auto turret also doing some substantial damage. I think the Queen is now going to be going down. Oh my god, these drones thinking that they're SCVs. You cannot repair that Queen. The carcass is going to go floating up all the way to the surface as a telltale sign for any sort of Zerg that try and resist later on. Another Queen is going to be coming in. Remember, these Banshees do not have cloaks, so he's going to have to make his way out of here ASAP. The Queen getting some serious damage done on that Banshee. I think with this turn, he may end up losing it. No, the mineral patch is slowing down the Queen. And oh, looks like xKawaiian's gonna be able to get out of there alive for now. Just barely. He did finish up a third expansion behind us, but was that enough damage to equalize? That is the big question that you have to be asking yourself. They're already a relatively even supply right now, but I'm not sure that it was enough to equalize their economic situation, because you can see 61 workers at 36. Yes, 3 CCs, 3 orbital commands is considered a magic point in any Terran player's economy. Once you get up 3 command centers or 3 orbital commands, you start throwing down the mules, you get an insane amount of mineral income, and you can really make wonders happen. But I'm just not sure if it counterbalances being almost 30-40 drones behind. But xKawaiian's got another way of dealing with that. Instead of just reproducing all the workers, you see 0 SCVs being produced right now. He's just going to try and kill his opponents and equalize their work counts that way. And so far, I mean, he hasn't killed a lot of workers, but there's really nothing over here to defend. A couple of Hydras going to be coming out. They are going to be able to do some insane amounts of DPS to these Hellions, but they are getting roasted pretty quickly as well. They're coming out one at a time, and these Hellions are in high enough numbers to at least take on some of them. More drones being roasted. It looks like xKawaiian, he was able to do enough damage to equalize the worker counts. In fact, taking a bit of a worker lead now. Ling's coming on in conjunction with the Hydras. He should be able to clean this up a-okay, no problem. But xKawaiian, he's got that third. He doesn't have much of an army though, and that is going to be a bit of a concern, I think, for xKawaiian. He's got 3 Marines and a Widow Mine. Okay, well, the bright side is his opponent only has a handful of Hydras, 6 Hydras, and a handful of Zerglings. By the time he made his way across the map, there should be a couple more Marines coming off of production, as well as even some more of these Widow Mines. The Medevacs are now coming out, and I believe Stim has been researched. Combat Shields very far behind, almost at the 10-minute mark, but I guess he just invested so much into those early Hellions, he wasn't really able to get a whole lot else done. Engineering Bay is also very late on those upgrades, so xKawaiian really did commit and invest a lot into making that kind of damage happen. Off the back, of course, I have to remind you of the fact that he took a lot of economic damage earlier on. So it makes sense that his build is a bit delayed. He had to cut corners somewhere, and he decided to cut it economically to try and get the damage done. I think it worked out relatively well. And considering the fact that his opponent, JediVipor, is not really looking to go for a big attack, I believe xKawaiian should be okay. Got a lot of Overlords coming out for JediVipor, maybe getting a bit supply block there for a moment. He has a Hydra den, of course, so he must have a lair, but I don't believe he's... Okay, no, 2-2 has not quite started up. He has +2 missile attacks coming out, but no +1 or +2 armor. Just good enough +1 melee instead. Looks like he really wants to stay committed on that Hydra Ling Baneling style. Which can be pretty effective in kind of the earlier and mid-game stages, but I feel like it does have a bit of a falling off point, as you really just don't have the kind of big tanks that you really want against the Terran Bioforce. Eventually you want to get into those Ultras, or you at least want to get out, I don't know, some Roaches or something to complement the Hydras. I feel like normally if you're going for that, though, you're not going for the melee upgrades, you're not going for the Lings and Banelings, so... Either way, though, we have xKawaiian moving around the map with this double medevac drop. Not quite dropping around, just moving around, waltzing around, picking off Overlords, finding free damage wherever you can. Gotta be paying attention to this army, though. Only loses 1 Marine, as it is also going to be floating up to the surface. But a good defense from JediVipor is not really going to be falling prey to too much damage. I was a little bit worried for him for a moment that xKawaiian was just going to pick up and float over to that 4th while he's out of position. And that may very well be happening, but xKawaiian catches a couple of Hydras. He's going to be unloading on top of those instead of the mineral line. JediVipor has to make a bit of a decision. Ooh, but the Baneling's getting some pretty good connections. Does soften up a good chunk of this little drop force, and I believe it should be picked up. Medevac's now trying to float over to the 4th expansion, but not going to find any such luck. 1 medevac full of units gets picked off, and JediVipor is going to be feeling pretty happy about how that went. Also now sitting up in upgrades with 2-1-1. That's +2 missile attack, +1 melee, as well as +1 carapace. So that's the armor upgrade. But xKawaiian going to continue with just 2 medevac drops going out. Trying to get up at the 4th expansion at the same time. Now the rocks have not been knocked down, so xKawaiian has a bit more time before this force could really push in. But after a scan, it looks like JediVipor really just wants to back off. Not feeling too confident about trying to move in here right now. Yeah, just staying in a very defensive position. I wonder if he saw or caught a glimpse of those medevacs moving out across the map. That really would seal the deal for him and trying to play a little bit more defensively. He doesn't really have too many Overlords out on the map anymore. xKawaiian's done a good job of picking those off. But, ooh, Infestation Pit on the way. JediVipor finally saying, okay, it is time. I need to start thinking about round 2. I need to start thinking about my transition into Hive Tech. I need to start thinking about what I'm going to do after Hydra Baneling. But, oh my god, he's dealing with this medevac drop on the left-hand side. His entire army's out of position because of it. He's going to be losing a lot of drones over here. Luckily, he does have drones to spare. But xKawaiian actually not getting as much damage as I think he really wanted to over here. He loses one of the medevacs very quickly. The other medevac very low on health. The medevacs on the left-hand side do try and move in, just snipe off a 5th expansion, but lots of Hydras over there in preparation to deal with that. There's not actually a lot inside the main base, but well, xKawaiian has such a low health medevac that even a Spore Crawler is going to be a little bit annoying for him to deal with. One shot does go off in the Spore Crawler, but nice reaction, does manage to salvage the medevac's health, and Queen's gonna focus fire down. There's no escape for these Marines, but more importantly, he can't really heal them up anymore. So even a small chunk of units could deal with this, but he does send a large chunk of his army. That's gonna leave him out of position once again. 5th expansion getting focus fire down. Stim comes out once again, and xKawaiian, he may just sacrifice his army for the kill on this, and he is gonna be able to get it. A couple of Hydras also coming in from the north side. Do manage to get a pick off on 1. 2 medevacs go down, and xKawaiian's drop is punished for the damage that they get done. But was it worth it? I think that xKawaiian probably going to be happy with how it worked out. 5th expansion, I think, was pretty important as the Zerg player JediVipor wanted to get up to Hive Tech, and he didn't quite get started up immediately after that Infestation Pit got finished up. So it's not necessarily just the economic damage of sniping off that 5th. It was the fact that those drops just delayed the multitasking capabilities of JediVipor. He didn't start up the Hive quite as quickly as he could have. But here we go, a nice concave going for JediVipor. xKawaiian and the big convex is not going to be getting a great situation with this engagement. Now the Vipers, or sorry, the Liberators get picked up very quickly, but it seems like with some reinforcements, xKawaiian should be able to take this. A Widow might even going off on top of those Hydras, and it seems like all of them are going to be going down. More Ling reinforcements coming in. They are in large enough numbers to push back xKawaiian. The Widow mine's also getting taken out, but I don't believe that JediVipor can really push in any further. He has a 5th expansion being reestablished, as well as a 6th expansion being taken at the exact same time. Oh, excuse me, these are not the 5th expansion. This is the 4th expansion. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this is the 5th expansion. I take it back. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases going up. So JediVipor is really going to try and explode out on Hive Tech with a booming economy of 80 workers, as well as, of course, just decent upgrades, which I think is something that he's been able to really do a good job of staying on top of. I would love to see xKawaiian get up 3-3, as that can be the really big game changer, I think, for most Terran players. But 3-3 gets started up before for JediVipor, which I think is a bit of an unusual thing to see. Normally it's not the Zerg player that actually gets up 3-3 first. But double medevac with drop, or I should say a triple medevac, but only 2 medevacs loaded up. Moving into that top right-hand expansion, the entire army is being pulled out of position, and guess what? It's going to be stim and snipe off on this other hatchery. This hatchery did end up falling as well, so this could be a huge blow right now to JediVipor. He needed these expansions, and at least one of them needed to get up. I think he could have survived if only one of them had gone down. But now, losing 2 of his most recently taken expansions, this 4th expansion, it's doing okay, but it's definitely going to start to run a little bit more drier, considering the fact that his 3rd expansion is not really mining all that healthily right now. Looks like the medevacs did float over to the main base, going to be able to snipe off a queen. I don't believe there's any tech over here. Where is that Ultralisk Cavern? Looks like it's over by the 4th expansion, so it's going to be kind of oddly safe in the more forward position. But oh, medevac number 1 does go down. Luckily, not the medevac that had any units inside of him. But xKawaiian, so close to sniping off another base, doesn't even know that that base has been taken. Ling's flooding on in. xKawaiian is going to pick up and leave, although he does leave a lot of units on the ground that are acting as sacrificial lambs. I believe that the medevacs, ooh, they managed to just stick around for a little bit longer. And after realizing that the entire army is out on the middle of the map, he's going to just come in, drop again, and buy himself a lot more time. Now focus firing down the hatchery as well as some of the overlords. I think that JediVipor can, well, he's actually very close. He's pretty much supply blocked at this point. He can only make 1 ultra right now. xKawaiian not supply blocked by any means. He's got 200 supply to work with and just freed up a little bit more supply after losing those drops. But he has been continuing the aggression, not necessarily constantly, relentlessly, but he has been pretty on top of it with very, very short periods of reprieve for JediVipor to make use of and to try and get out an army. Every single time JediVipor has tried to move out across the map or tried to move even a little bit out onto the map, this has happened. Expansion killed, not canceled. That's 300 minerals down the drain, but xKawaiian also scouts out the Ultra, which cleaves its way easily through that army. Very close to 3-3 upgrades, and chitinous plating also on the way, going to make those ultras even tankier than before. Hydra's able to take this fight as well. xKawaiian may be in a bit of trouble. He's sitting down 30 supply, and a lot of that is an army supply. He's taken this bottom left-hand expansion. He's got Planetary Fortress to back his army up with, and these rocks are still going to be able to buy a little bit more time, especially with the Liberators now sieging up, but this is still a dangerous situation. JediVipor going to try and push in over here, but he's trying to find a location to do so and not really finding too many opportunities. 3-3 and chitinous plating have finished up, though. This is the time to strike. 3-3 is also finished up for xKawaiian. But here we go. Lings, not in huge numbers, but the Hydra's in pretty large numbers. Going to charge in. The Ultras go down very, very quickly. And I think xKawaiian is going to be taking a really fantastic fight over here as the Liberators just rain hell down on top of the Hydras. So many of them get cleaned up. And I don't think that this is a good engagement for JediVipor. He was looking for the engagement. He felt like he had to take one after losing those newer expansions multiple times, but at the end of the day, maybe moving over to this bottom left-hand expansion. Did he even realize that expansion has been taken? He hasn't really scouted it out, technically. He may have some suspicions about it being taken, but a bit unfortunate, as now he's going to be left in a very, very precarious situation where he doesn't have an economy to replenish the army he just lost. 2 ultras on the way, but 2 ultras too late, as all of these lings are going to be going down. All of these hydras are going to be going down without any of that ultra support. And I think xKawaiian is called, and GG gets called, and xKawaiian takes the game. Big thank you to xKawaiian for submitting me this game. By the way, guys, if you want to go check out xKawaiian, you should check out his stream, as he has been streaming a good bit over on Twitch. If you guys want to check him out, he is found over at twitch.tv/ I believe just xKawaiian. Let me double check this. Twitch xKawaiian. That's the beautiful thing. If you follow someone on Twitch, you don't even need to know what their Twitch channel is. You just go click on that follow link whenever they do go live. And yeah, he is in fact twitch.tv/ xKawaiian. So thank you so much, Taylor, for sending me this replay. In case you guys didn't notice, we are not doing the Newbie Thursday thing today. It's been a bit of a cramped week, and honestly, I just wanted a little bit more time to find some good replays to do the sort of Newbie Tuesday style thing. Just because I want to do it right. I want to get off to a good start, and I'm also going to be gone this entire weekend, so no streams for me, but there will still be YouTube content. Hopefully you guys enjoy that, but that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.